All right. So with 3, let's see what I had. I just said your content seemed really, really aligned with everything the rubric said. It seemed like it was aligned with what you said your most pressing need was in task 2. Your strength, you had a lot of resources, and I think that's one thing I'm going to have to fix with my paper, because I don't think I have enough. I thought they said something about 3, and apparently I was wrong. But you had a lot of really good resources that seemed really aligned with what your most pressing need was. The only weakness I saw, and it's just with what the rubric says, is in your best practice section, we're supposed to have like graphs or tables or timelines and that sort of
Okay.
thing. So I would try and find or create 1 or 2 to put there, just to, I think it's supposed to like back up your research and what your PLC team decides on.
Okay.
I know I'm still gonna add a timeline in mine, I think, just to kind of give a better idea of how all that would be carried out.
Okay.
And then it was really obvious that you were leading your PLC group, and you almost seemed like they agreed with everything that you threw out there, as far as which practices to use. So the only other thing I saw was there were a couple of typos, so I would just read it again, kind of careful.
Okay.
And in your annotated bibliography, some of the citations for the starting for each resource looked more like in-text citations than the actual citation, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I would just look at that, and I always use in undergrad, they had us use like a citation machine, where you put in the information, and then you do have to double check it because it will make errors, but it kind of helps you get the format started, and then you can build off of it.
So was that in like the reference section or the in-text?
The intake, your annotated bibliography, you have to
Okay.
cite each one and then talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just check over those and make sure they're cited right.
Oh, okay.
But that was it. I thought you did really well. You had a lot of resources, so you definitely had enough information to present to your team and everything backed up. I felt like I couldn't find hardly anything, so I was amazed by how many you were able to find.
Okay, and thank you. And then that was with the help of the PLC team too. We kind of had a conversation and talked about it when we talked about best practices and the need, what type of programs would work to satisfy the need. And
Right.
so they threw out a few, and then I went back and researched, the ones that they gave me. So I went back just to research it to see if this would, be something that could work. And I said, well, okay, let me just, look at it further. But yet definitely included it, in my annotated bibliography.
I tried that I talked to our principal, and she gave me 1 or 2, and then I talked to one of the other members, and I did it individually, not really in the meeting. And they gave me 1 or 2, but mine was because my most pressing need to focus on the Hispanic students.
Okay.
So it's really hard, I feel like, to find when I tried to look it up online, all of my resources that came back were talking about Spanish classes. It's like teaching Spanish and things like that. It was really hard to find anything online. So I've had to do the same thing. I've had to get resources from people and figure out how to use them. I even thought about talking to our ESL teacher and seeing if she had any ideas.
Yes, I was about to say that the EL teacher or the ESL teacher is a very good resource, because I have the ESL teacher, the school counselor, and the EC teacher like on the team, just so that they can help with the resource, because their database is wider than mine. But they have access to like the whole school, and I only have access to like my homeroom. So yeah.
And I would have loved to have, especially now knowing that I need to focus on the Hispanic students, I would have loved to have put the ESL teacher on our PLC team, but she's only at our school 1 day a week.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it's on Friday, I'm pretty sure. So she's not there enough to really participate in
Right.
our meetings or anything.
Yeah. I guess just email the point of contact.
Yeah.
Just, to get some feedback, and Yep. So I'll go ahead and do yours quickly. Let me see if I can do this. Okay. So I said for the content, the task content is aligned with the course content. The annotated bibliography is supported by narrative, evidence, and it illustrates resources. The rubric strength, you use 3 resources: improving reading instruction, improving the achievement of Hispanic students, and fixing learning gaps. The resources reflected the identified need. The information was written in the required APA format. Your rubric weakness, areas to be addressed, consider at least 5 regular resources for the annotated bibliography and 3 online tools, which we talked about. And you already said that you was going to add just a little bit more.
Yeah.
For the leadership, you led the PLC team in a discussion about all the best practices and the need for using all the practices over time, not just settling on one, but just using all practices over time to support the need. Your mechanics, the narratives was written professionally. Formal language and sentence structure was appropriate for the task. Just the organization, you may want to include a heading to separate your information. If you decide to include more resources, maybe a heading for the annotated bibliography, online tools or resources, and then another heading for best practices. The APA formatting, when you get to the part, when you finish your references, include an appendix for the MobyMax graph, and be sure to make sure it's labeled based on the APA format. So that's all I had for yours, but everything was well written. Just throwing those extra couple of resources, and I think everything will look good.
Yeah, and I've definitely got to work on that, and I think that's why in my narrative I was including, we were using all of them instead of just picking a few, because I did only have 3. But I would definitely do that.
But everything looked good.
Well, thank you.
And thank you for your feedback, and I'll go look at that again and make my corrections and try to send it on after I get my second review. Is this your first review?
This is my second one, because Michael did one, and then so you're the second one. So now I've got to go work on, do all that work and all those research, and then I'll be good to submit it to Dr. Church.
Okay, so I have to work on my second one. This is my first. I have to work on number 2, and I'll definitely go ahead and make those corrections that you suggested, and then send it to the second person.
Yeah, same.